Okay, so I saw Nagad's video earlier today, and I just thought, like, I'm so happy that she's talking about it. I'm so happy that she's talking about it. I'm so happy that she's talking about it. Because when I was in her position, I couldn't talk about it. There was no one to talk to about it because like it was incredible. Like some women or some people started to comment where they're kind of like sharing a little bit about their own experience, like, oh, well, my daughter did this and my daughter did that. But there's something really wrong in the black community, especially among like black American women. They're like haters in so many ways. Like they don't even know how to be supportive. Like it's just not in their DNA. Like they don't, it's like they just don't give a shit about any other black woman. It's like any token of aheadness that they can get for somebody else, they'll do that, and they'll just like watch you fail, which is why I just hope to just try to be as supportive as I can of Nagad. And it might be the same thing in the African community because there's so many different African communities where women are, there's just not support. And so she made some comments that were like, I don't actually have many friends here. It's kind of hard to make friends. She doesn't have many other mom friends, and she just doesn't have other people to talk to about it. I cannot describe the amount of, girl, you're preaching to the choir. I went through the exact same thing, and that's an impossible situation. Like when I saw her tears and I saw her distress, I personally felt that distress. And like it was, and the sad part about it is I wouldn't even sit here and say like I didn't have people. I did have people around me. I had a lot of people around me. I had colleagues that I was working with, people I went to school with, people who I really thought were close to me, family members. Like what, everybody knew what I was going on. Everybody was equally shitty. They were so they're not, it's not even like the past tense as though like shit is like from yesterday. I'm talking about like today. Like people who know shit that's going on right now and they don't give a flying fuck. They could care less. So this is what I'm saying. Fuck their children, fuck their society. Like, I mean, I don't care either. Like, fuck them. Like, they don't care about me. I don't care about them. And everybody should just move forward. But I do care about Nagad, right? And I think that one thing that she might not see is how I think the biggest question there is she's like wondering like how do other women do it. Obviously there's other parents in the world and there's other moms who are momming and they're fine, so she's probably wondering like, why am I not fine, why am I not okay, why is it so hard for me? It's really hard for you, Nagad, because you're black and you're not wealthy. That's why. I don't know what the hell it is in the developed world at this point in time. It's just kind of impossible to be a poor mother. Being a black mother is so dangerous. Like, this is why I literally keep saying it. Like, black women literally you have to put yourself first. Like you honestly, like you have to put yourself first. I know there's like people keep talking about biology. Oh, biology. They're only saying all that shit only applies to white women. This is don't even. I would not, if I were you, pragmatically, don't even join the conversation about like womanhood, because white womanhood is not black womanhood. Being a black mother in America is pretty much reduced to like being a mammy, being a slave. That's what it is. Like this society has a place for everyone. Okay, there's like, as you see, like black men who have resources aren't marrying anyone. Okay, the ones who could provide this like Whole Foods housewife experience, they're not. They're marrying Karens. Like all the NBA players, they're going to marry white women. All of them. 100%. Like it's like 89% of them are going to do that. If I were you and if I were a black woman, don't play that game. Don't, like, I am a black woman. What I'm saying, like, if I, as a black woman, you can't play into that. Like the stats are just so against you. You're like wasting your time trying to play that game. And like women are on a schedule. Everybody's on a fucking schedule. Like there just ain't enough niggers to go around, okay? And they don't give a shit about anybody. You can't care about them. You have to care about you. So you have to think about other things. And really all it actually comes down to is just being able to provide for yourself. To provide for yourself, what you can do is just get a job. That's it. Get a job, pay your rent, pay your bills, like everybody else. And this just goes on basically until you die. And then you figure out a way to like optimize that system of 24 hours that you have in a day to just make sure that like basically your bills get paid. And that's all you get. Like there isn't really more than that. That's the thing. That's what you get. That's all there is. And man, it just really sounds like the emotional labor in her household is just being put on her 100%, which is really fucked up because she should have support from her husband. Like, she should feel like she can talk to her husband about things that she's going through and feel like he cares, that he understands, that he wants to help. Maybe he doesn't know to do that. Maybe she doesn't know to ask for it. I don't know. But all of this comes into also, she has 2 babies basically to raise and limited resources. And it sounds like there's some job stuff that's happening. So there's all of these things. And there are just not a lot of resources. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess some of this stuff I learned through trial and error. Others of it is kind of like Marriage Markets, the book. But it really does matter who you marry. You want to marry into a good family. That's it. You want to marry into a good family. That's like really important. It's so important. I don't know. I don't really have like another thing. Marrying into a good family is important. And I think that you have to, how do you say? I don't know. I really don't know. I would say that I will say a lot of black women have quite a lot of pretty tokens. They're just not being put to use. Well, I guess that's with the influencer culture now. They are being put to use because there's just so many black models and influencers and explainers. You can be like a writer, like news commentators, like things like that, where you can just kind of document your own experience and monetize that, which is really good because we don't have a lot of examples of just like black women out in the world. For some reason, we just have these like stereotypical tropes, right? And these like poverty circle stories that are very strange. Like, it's just so strange. Like, life doesn't have to be that fucking hard. Like, you just really have to take care of yourself. And like, in a very, very serious way. Like, you have to like look at yourself and realize like, I am hungry, and then you have to go eat. I am tired, and you have to go sleep. I am mentally exhausted. I have to get therapy. I need to go talk to a friend, and then you need to go like talk to, you know what I mean? Like, all the things that you need to do, when you feel the need to do them, you need to go and do them. But you can't like look to someone else to do it. If you're like, I want to go to the bar, then you need to get your ass up and go to the bar. If you're like, oh, I need to run it out, I need to go exercise, you just sweat it out, then you need to go do that. Like, whatever your personal need is, like, you have to go fulfill your need. That can be really hard because like it just is. It's just so hard. And I wish there was more content out there about it. There's just not. Like, Nagad, me, Kelly Stamps, Kiana Naomi, Kai Foster, Cameron Elise. There's just not that many just regular ass black girls who are out here making content. The other people are just on Instagram posting photos. It's like if I were to just post a photo every day of me like this, and then I wear a dress. It's not like, I wouldn't even describe it as what Segan's doing. Like, Segan's, I think she's just like a stay-at-home wife. So like, yes, her making like commentary channels about like putting on outfits makes sense. She's just like a married woman who just posts in clothes. Like, it makes sense. She's like a literal, like a lifestyle influencer. This makes sense because she's like gorgeous. Like, this is actually how it's supposed to be. But it just, I don't know what the others are making content about. Like, people are making all these this content about all of these like dating, these like made up rules or something, or maybe it's like purity politics. People are trying to explain purity politics, but we already have the Bible, so like we don't really need another interpretation. Like, it actually is very clear. The Bible is pretty clear, and church is readily available. Like, we actually don't need Andrew Tate. Like, if you feel like if Andrew Tate is your first kind of exploration down like orthodoxy, you have a problem. So don't blame the women in modern society who have just chosen not to live by the Bible, which is a thing that just has existed forever. Like, just blame yourself for not being orthodox enough, because he's not even orthodox. Also, being a radical, we are very familiar with radical Islam and like what that is as well. Okay, the Taliban people and the people bombing planes. I'm not saying that all Muslim people are like that, but I am saying that there are some radical aspects of that religion, and really any religion. So it's kind of like you being weary of all of it makes sense. Um, oh God. I guess I also just want to go for a second too, because there seems to be this like idea of the other side, like, oh, I could just be like all of the people in academia have it figured out. And I also want to say no to that, because geez, like the thing about the white collar jobs, they're so political. Like, it's political to the point of exhaustion. Because like, yes, you can go to school and you can get a degree in something, and then you can try to get a job, getting a job as in like using your skills in the open market to like contribute some way to some company that's already established. That's a thing. The problem is, when you're a black person, there's all of these like other like social, like racial indicators that like might actually like inhibit you from kind of like doing the thing that you're trained to do, and it's mostly just because you're black. And then there's all these other parts of kind of like being in that society, as in like being in white collar society, where there's like holiday parties. There's this idea that you want like your kids to like grow up around them, but it's like, actually, the weird part about it is like, I actually have quite a lot of friends who have like software engineering degrees from like really good schools, and like studied robotics, all type of shit. So it's not that there's like not. They always try to say that in the media and in those stupid ass blog posts. The diversity inclusion Karens, like they're always like, oh, there we don't. If there were skills, if people had the skills, then we'd be able to do. Then we could all be married and we could sing Hanukkah Christmas. Like, yeah, that isn't how it works. Like, the reason why people like me actually have to make videos that are like how to exist in a PWI is because white and Asian people together are awful. Like, they are just like a collective bag of shittiness. It's like going to school with them and being in classes with them is awful. Like, you should really go watch my other video that's like how to survive at a PWI. How can you say it? It's probably easier to just hang yourself or jump off of a fucking cliff. Like, it's not easy to be around them. Like, they have we have to talk about microaggressions, okay, and actual systemic racism, because these people come from real racist places. Like, India's like for real racist, like not kind of racist, like they're hella racist. Okay, like China doesn't even have any people of other races. There's like two people, and they're in like music groups. Like, the two black people that y'all see in those two K-pop groups, yeah, those are like the only black people who live there. It's not even a 1 percentage point. It's like everybody there looks exactly the same. Billions of people who look exactly the same. They're like white like paper, bro. Okay, and then they all look exactly the same. They do exactly the same thing. This has nothing, what's going on over there has nothing to do with America. It just has nothing at all to do with America. Like, America's over here, and then they are like all the way over there doing something else. So then all of a sudden they like come to school out here, and they're like, oh, we have money, because they all do that. They think they can like buy their way into opportunity, and to an extent they can. The only problem is, like, if they want to keep the racism, they're going to have to take their money and opportunity back to China or back to India, because they're not the only people with the resources in America. Unfortunately, there's like white people here, there's black people here, and there's like all of the other racial groups who also live here. It isn't just like the people that you went to school with because you could afford to segregate yourself from everybody who was poor. Like, you actually have to deal with other people in society, and that's kind of the way society really is. And it's kind of sad because it gives these false opportunity of hope for people who are just like poor, and they think like, well, I went to college, and so because now I have a degree and I went to college, like all the poor white families, they like tell their children like, oh, well, if you go to college, like their whole life plan is like built around college. That like college is the like token of, it's like the symbol of achievement, right? Now the problem is, get a liberal arts degree is kind of useless in the job market. Like you might have a nice amount of information about the world, and if you were good at networking, then you actually might be able to kind of like finesse your way into something nice. But unless you're like, if the Harvard grads, okay, the Yale grads, the Princeton grads, they are at the top of every company, of everything, because they deserve to be there. Like they're really that much smarter. Like not kind of smarter. Like I know the Ohio State grads are like, yeah, but we can read. Yeah, but like the people from Yale can also read. The people from Harvard, they can read too, and they can critically think, and they believe in globalization. So you're just not as smart as them. That's why you went to Ohio State and they went to Harvard. All college ain't equal. Okay? Like this is why we have a whole bunch of conversations where Peter Thiel is talking about like college isn't necessary for most of you. Facts. Big facts. K through 12 is a social experiment to see if you can make it enough to just do something in the workforce. That's it. If you can go to college, okay, and you can make it through that, maybe you can get skills enough to do something else in society. Otherwise, you can just get a regular ass job like the rest of us. That's it. Like going after getting a high school diploma is a social indicator that you have enough prowess to just like show up, do the bare minimum, graduate. That's all you have to do with the job anyway. That's all it requires to work at Walmart. You just have to do that. You don't get paid very much because like the job isn't that meaningful, but it's still a job. Okay. And like some money isn't $0. $0 is $0. Having more than $0 is having more than $0. And that's like a real thing. And we have to be like serious about that. So, ugh.